Because if you're going to try to attract a veteran into the industry, the entry level pay might not be there, to get that interest. But what if they can come in at a higher grade operator license? And they do give educational credits for, say, college education. If you're college educated, you get extra time on to your certification. You can qualify for those higher paying jobs earlier. There's nothing quite in place yet for military training.
What we pitched to our department was basically allowing veterans that serve at least 1 year just to get an automatic 1 year of relevant experience. And that experience is what's one of the requirements for sitting for different levels of certification.
Hey everyone, it's Bob Crossan. I'm the editorial director of Wastewater Digest. I'm joined today by Travis Peaslee. He is Lewiston Auburn Water Pollution Control Authority General Manager, as well as Emily Cole Prescott. She's president of Maine Water Environment Association, and Dustin Price. He's the chief operator of Portland Water District. Thank you all for being here. We're going to be talking about some initiatives in Maine in terms of workforce and trying to get some veterans involved in the water industry. So thanks again for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so first question I'm going to direct to Dustin because I know that you were really integral in making this a reality. It's been actually many years, it sounds like. Why was this such an important issue for you to want to address, and what did you feel needed to change to make it a possibility?
Well, as you know, we spoke earlier, but there is a what they call the silver tsunami hitting the water industry.
Yeah.
20% of operators in Maine have dropped off on their certification. They've retired out. About 50% of the workforce is 50 and over. Many of them with enough hours in already to retire tomorrow. It's a huge issue. Everyone's dealing with it. And when I believe at the time I was working in New Hampshire and on the New Hampshire Water Pollution Control Board, their version of MeWEA, we started looking at ways to address this. And I'm ex-Navy. So I started looking at how this was a really good fit for me in an industry. But the age-old joke in the water industry is how'd you get in? Because it's always by some miraculous accident. So how do we make it so that we get the word out in front of veterans that, man, we are a career of choice, a choice career, something you want to be into. Worked with a gentleman named Peter Goodwin, and we wrote the Water Warriors Jobs Initiative, and made my first white paper, presented it in DC, and started working on things that we can improve. One of the things that's really gotten a lot of traction on when you're looking at what it takes to be an operator, you got training, a lot to learn being in the water field, certification too. And when you look at certification, I thought that was going to be a key component, because if you're going to try to attract a veteran into the industry, the entry level pay might not be there, to get that interest. But what if they can come in at a higher grade operator license? And they do give educational credits for, say, college education. If you're college educated, you get extra time on to your certification. You can qualify for those higher paying jobs earlier. There's nothing quite in place yet for military training. So we started looking at that. And that's where I think Maine is leading the way, and they just changed some of their certification rules. Travis has been a big help with that.
Yeah. So Travis, do you want to speak to that? Sounds like it was a big challenge in getting this. That was a hurdle to clear, essentially, to get this really going.
Yeah, I mean, it was the certification part was, we sort of undertook it from being, licensed operator myself, being involved with personal advancement through MeWEA, having served a long time on MeWEA itself. MeWEA's main mission initiative is to train operators. So there was an opportunity to work with our DEP on their updating the rules for certification. So really, when I got involved, I was looking to clean up that certification process. We were looking to make provisional license opportunities and ideally expand the range of relevant training that we could get credit for. So that was really where it started. But being a veteran, being involved, or being familiar with the Water Warriors Initiative, there seemed like an opportunity to sort of overlap and introduce that into this process we were trying to clean up. So what we pitched to our department was basically allowing veterans that serve at least 1 year just to get an automatic 1 year of relevant experience. And that experience is what's one of the requirements for sitting for different levels of certification. So we wanted to create a base of 1 year automatically for having served, but also create an opportunity for anyone that had a job that had further connections and really defined by American Council of Education versus it being discretionary up to different staff members. So really, 1 year was the minimum we were looking for, but there's opportunity to get multiple years of related education from being a veteran and military experience towards future licenses. The thought there was we do want veterans to be recognized for their efforts. We do think our industry is great for them. And we kind of wanted to send a signal to them that we think there's an opportunity and a connection by letting them know that this opportunity now exists and we're recognizing that.
Yeah. Well, I know workforce is a big issue. It seems like basically regardless of state when it comes to the water industry. I think even just really any of these jobs that are where you're in person doing some hard labor, it seems like it's pretty challenging to find folks right now. Emily, on your side, president of MeWEA, what are you hearing from like the broader scope of things in Maine? Is it like how big of an issue is this across the whole state, and what are some of the challenges that you're hearing from members on that?
Well, definitely, as Dustin put, the silver tsunami is a very real thing, and we're in preparation mode now, trying to not only deal with infrastructure funding, climate concerns, improvements to wastewater treatment facilities, but PFAS regulations, but also workforce, and making sure that the workforce is strong and the people coming in are going to be able to replace the people that are retiring. And so there are so many transferable skills for veteran workforce. And then as well as there's transferable skills all over different types of industry sectors, even outside of the water industry.
Yeah. Well,
And so
sorry, go
getting
ahead.
that word out is critical. Yeah. So getting that word out is critical. And so we're really, really grateful that you're highlighting this. And it's also being highlighted in New England Water Environment Association at the regional level, and some national level highlight to it as well with Water Environment Federation. So we're really trying to spread the message, and also share that being a water worker is an awesome industry. It's an awesome place to be.
Yeah. Well, it's a great initiative. And like I said, it is like this workforce challenge is a real thing, and having as many tools in the tool belt to solve that problem would be great. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of states that will learn a lot from this particular program in Maine. And to that point, I feel like a lot of these conversations tend to focus more on Gen Z or millennial workers, and maybe even starting to get to Gen Alpha at this point. Well, how did you identify veterans as a workforce opportunity in this regard, Dustin? Like you mentioned that this was something that you've been working on for so long. What was it about them that you thought that this was a great workforce opportunity for water?
Again, I think it was from my limited experiences. I was a veteran in the industry, and it was a really good fit. I was
Hmm.
a submarine mechanic. The same equipment that was on the subs, the same equipment at the plant, the same pumps, the same pipes, the same valves. It was a fit. And then it hit that sense of community service.
Mm,
Folks joining the military, they want to serve. So here I am finally finding a career that provided real value, to the community I was working for. It wasn't just a 9 to 5. I protected the environment. I protected people's health. It was a way to continue that sense of I'm doing something meaningful for a career.
mhm.
And then that sort of lit the conversation on is how do we get this word out to everyone else coming out of the military? Because no one told me about the industry. It sort of fell into it. And we're lucky enough now where we're visiting TAP programs, the Transition Assistance Program, with a grant. We got a grant to help create a nice recruitment video and
Mhm.
get the word out to veterans on what we're doing. But that my experience was just personal. It worked really well from what I was doing. Got into it, and then we were talking about this. I'm thinking, man, wouldn't it be great to get other veterans into?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it makes a lot of sense. And I was going to ask Travis kind of an add on to that, which is what do you think makes veterans such great workers for the water industry? It sounds like obviously the equipment's very similar in a lot of situations with the Navy, but is that always the case? And what do you think makes them such great workers for the water industry?
I think for most part that's the case. I mean, there's a lot of cross-functional skills. I mean, you can go from technology, computers. I mean, military still has public works. They even have
Hmm.
water, wastewater facilities. There's a lot of mechanical, but even the systems, the um, asset management and preventative maintenance and emergency response, they're all things we're doing daily in our industry. So the skills are cross-functional. Dustin mentioned that desire to serve. That's why most of us enlist. We just have this desire to serve the public, and it takes a special person to sort of sign up and enlist, and that same person probably has similar desires to come back to their hometown, their community, and continue to serve the public. So there's a relationship there. But a lot of what we're doing in the military is the same stuff, where we're following rules and regulations and solving problems and constant change and response to emergencies and chaos control. Those types of things. Once you're in this industry, you realize that they're part of the daily life, and how we're responding to an operation that just can't stop. It's a 24/7, very critical moving machine here that we're all trying to operate, and it's very similar to most daily life. I won't say that's every job in every branch of the military, but for the most part, that's the life you live in the military, and it's a very easy transition to come over, whether or not you're maybe directly using skills like Dustin did coming over, or you're just you're used to being taught and trained and educated in whatever it is that's needed. Those are all good skills to have, good characteristic traits to have, and I think they work well in our industry.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for being here. I had one last question, which I'm not sure which of you would like to answer that, but is where can people learn more about this program? Maybe they're in a different state and they're interested in seeing this is something they can do there, or maybe they're in Maine and they want to share this with a veteran. What is there anything that anywhere we can direct them?
So you can certainly look at MeWEA.org website, and that website shows all the job listings as we get them. We post them, so you can get connected to like what jobs may be open. I will say Maine is a pretty small state, so if you were to reach out to Dustin, Travis, or me, we could probably also connect you to someone. And so the program itself is more of the connections that MeWEA has. So a lot of people will start, a lot of people have worked in different utilities and they move over to another one and grow. And then we also kind of support each other's growth. So it's a great network to be part of here in Maine and regionally through the states.
Great. Well, thank you all for being here. We'll have some links in the description below. If you are watching this, go check those out. We'll have a link to MeWEA, so you can go check out that job board and everything. And to all of you being here, thanks once again for taking the time to speak with me.